What if a landlocked country in Africa is about to flip the script on global energy dependency? Burkina Faso, a nation known more for its struggles than its triumphs, is taking a bold leap toward the future, and it doesn't involve begging for foreign aid or relying on the West. No, this is about electric vehicles, solar power, and a vision that could reshape not just Burkina Faso, but the entire African continent. But how are they doing it? Let's find out. Alright, let's cut to the chase. Burkina Faso has been stuck in a cycle of importing fuel for years, and it's not just a minor inconvenience, it's a money pit. For a country like Burkina Faso, which is still developing and struggling with economic instability, spending millions on foreign oil every year is unsustainable. When the cost of fuel goes up globally, it hits hard. The people of Burkina Faso end up paying more for basic services and infrastructure development, and the government gets trapped in a vicious cycle of relying on imports. So what does Burkina Faso do? It says no more and turns to electric vehicles, EVs. The electric vehicle solution is a game changer, and here's why. EVs don't depend on imported fuel. They run on electricity, and guess what? Burkina Faso has an abundance of sunshine. Solar power is a renewable resource that could easily power these vehicles. Imagine what happens when you stop relying on expensive fuel imports and start using your natural resources to power vehicles. The country's energy bills drop, and the savings can be reinvested into essential services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. But that's not all. Electric vehicles reduce the country's carbon footprint, helping it join the global fight against climate change. Traditional vehicles with combustion engines spew out pollutants into the air, contributing to the climate crisis and poor air quality in cities. Transitioning to electric cars means cleaner air, fewer respiratory issues for the population, and an overall healthier environment. And what's even better, as Burkina Faso becomes less reliant on fossil fuels, it is taking a giant step toward energy independence, reducing vulnerability to fluctuating fuel prices from abroad. Now we know what you're thinking. This is great, but how do you make that transition work practically? Well, that's where the 53 electric vehicle help comes in. And you'll want to hear how this aid plays a pivotal role in kickstarting Burkina Faso's electric revolution. Stick till the end. The 53 electric vehicles were given by a Chinese billionaire. Sounds like a big deal, right? Well, it is. This is where things get interesting. The help is not just a generous gift, it's a statement. It's a catalyst for a much bigger shift in Burkina Faso's transportation infrastructure. These 53 vehicles aren't just sitting around looking pretty. They are the foundation for the transition to a modern, sustainable system of electric transportation. Think about it. With these 53 vehicles on the road, Burkina Faso gets a real-life test run of how electric vehicles can function in their environment. The vehicles will help build local knowledge and expertise in electric transportation. They'll serve as the proof of concept for the government, businesses, and citizens, showing that EVs can work in Burkina Faso's climate and terrain. They also pave the way for establishing the infrastructure that will be necessary for a wider EV adoption. And here's where it gets interesting. These 53 cars are going to be inspiring the government to plan the future of electric transportation at scale. But it's not just about Burkina Faso, is it? This help is also a sign of the growing relationship between China and African nations. China has been investing heavily in Africa's infrastructure and technology sectors, and this aid is just the tip of the iceberg. While Western countries often come to Africa with aid packages that come with all sorts of strings attached, China's model is about real, tangible partnerships. This isn't charity, it's partnership. China is providing solutions, not just handouts, and Burkina Faso is benefiting from that approach. What does this mean for the future? These 53 vehicles will serve as an example. More vehicles will follow, charging stations will be built, and the country will continue to lead the way for Africa in embracing green technology. But how does this tie into the bigger picture? That's where Ibrahim Traoré's leadership comes into play. Traoré isn't just a leader, he's a visionary. His plan for Burkina Faso doesn't rely on the old playbook of begging for international aid or relying on foreign powers to solve problems. No, Traoré is charting a path towards self-sufficiency and long-term sustainability. He's laser-focused on ensuring that Burkina Faso doesn't just survive, but thrives in an increasingly green, self-sufficient world. Traoré sees the electric vehicle shift as more than just a way to modernize transportation. For him, it's a move that ties into his larger goals of reducing Burkina Faso's dependency on outside resources. By embracing electric vehicles, Burkina Faso is not only saving money on foreign oil, it's investing in its future. And the 53 cars given by China, they fit perfectly into Traoré's broader vision of a modern, eco-friendly Burkina Faso that isn't just surviving on global handouts, but carving out its path. This isn't about jumping on the green bandwagon because it's the trendy thing to do. It's about building a future where Burkina Faso can stand on its own 2 feet, economically and environmentally. Traoré's vision is about independence. By reducing reliance on fossil fuels, the country is freeing itself from the grip of foreign powers and positioning itself as a regional leader in sustainable development. Traoré's leadership is all about progress, and the move to electric vehicles is just one piece of the puzzle. But what does this mean for the future of Burkina Faso's economy and people? Well, let's talk about the direct economic impacts next, because they're going to be huge. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The move to electric vehicles is not just about reducing emissions, it's about boosting Burkina Faso's economy. Think about it. The more the country relies on foreign oil, the more money is drained out of the economy. That's millions of dollars that could be spent on infrastructure, healthcare, and schools. When you stop depending on foreign fuel, you stop losing money that could be reinvested into the people. With the shift to electric vehicles, Burkina Faso will save on fuel imports, which can be redirected into other vital sectors. Imagine the possibilities. That money could be invested in public services like healthcare and education, or it could help create more sustainable industries that employ local people. This transition also creates jobs, lots of jobs. There's manufacturing, installation of charging stations, maintenance of vehicles, and more. As the electric vehicle market grows, so will the local green economy. But wait, there's more. Transitioning to electric vehicles also positions Burkina Faso as a potential leader in the green economy across Africa. Other nations will see what's happening in Burkina Faso, and they'll want in. This opens the door to international investments, partnerships, and trade in green technology. As Burkina Faso builds out its electric infrastructure, it will attract the kind of attention that could lead to even more projects in renewable energy and green tech. In short, Burkina Faso is positioning itself as a future-facing economy that's not just preparing for tomorrow, but actively shaping it. The economic benefits of electric vehicles go far beyond just cutting costs. The entire landscape of Burkina Faso's economy is about to transform, and this is just the start. But what about the environmental impact of all this? This is where the real magic happens. The shift to electric vehicles (EVs) in Burkina Faso is a game changer for the planet. Traditional gas-powered vehicles are notorious for emitting harmful gases into the atmosphere. And let's not sugarcoat it. This pollution is killing the planet. In Burkina Faso, where air quality isn't always the best and climate change is already starting to bite, moving to EVs is more than just an option. It's a necessity. Electric vehicles have zero tailpipe emissions, which means they don't pump carbon dioxide or other harmful gases into the air. Boom! Cleaner air, fewer health issues, and a step closer to a future where pollution doesn't choke us. But it doesn't end with just the vehicles themselves. The real beauty of Burkina Faso's green transition is that it's going hand in hand with renewable energy, specifically solar power. With so much sunlight, Burkina Faso is perfectly positioned to tap into solar energy to charge those EVs. Think about it. Burkina Faso is powering electric cars with the sun, cutting down on fossil fuel consumption and massively reducing its carbon footprint.
So what sources of energy are being used in Africa in terms of renewable? Solar, mainly in Northern Africa. And then in Eastern Africa, we have a wonderful program for Eastern Africa for geothermal energy. And a country like Kenya is 40% geothermal energy and almost 30 or 40% wind power. So just to tell you how the strides our continent have been taking in terms of availing renewable energy to our people and the investments and the projects either in solar and wind.
This is revolutionary, not just for Burkina Faso, but for Africa as a whole. If this plan works, it will be a model for other African nations to follow. Why? Because Africa is already blessed with renewable resources. What it needs are the policies and investments that Burkina Faso is embracing right now. This isn't just a feel-good move. It's a real solution to the environmental crisis we're all facing.
The share of renewable energy in Africa's energy mix is 40%. That's the highest in the world. That's higher than Europe, definitely higher than the US, Japan, UK, you name it. So it's higher than the global average. When we go even deeper, because Africa is 54 countries, we have 22 countries that depend mainly on renewable energy. More even than that, we have 5 African countries that who depend on renewable energy at rates like 90–95%. Did you hear these statistics? I don't think so.
But does Burkina Faso have the infrastructure to make this work? Can they pull it off? Here's where China comes in. China's involvement in Africa has often been misunderstood or mischaracterized as just another country trying to control Africa. But that narrative is changing, and Burkina Faso is at the center of that change. The reason China is involved in the electric vehicle push in Burkina Faso isn't just to flex its geopolitical muscle. It's about real solutions. Unlike Western aid, which often comes with strings attached or political conditions, China's approach has been to invest in practical, useful solutions. The aid of 53 electric vehicles is a clear sign of this. China is helping Burkina Faso and other African nations by providing them with the tools they need to build sustainable, self-reliant economies. Instead of dumping cash into a system that keeps Africa dependent, China is offering resources and technology to solve the continent's problems. These 53 cars aren't a handout. They're an investment in Burkina Faso's green future. China's involvement isn't just about Africa's immediate needs. It's about preparing for the long haul. This isn't just a one-off donation. It's part of a larger strategy of mutual benefit. China is fostering relationships that go beyond the transactional. In return, China gains a new ally in Africa's green economy, opening up opportunities for future trade, investment, and collaboration. And China is also willing to help Burkina Faso with the right infrastructure. So, let's step back for a moment and ask, how is this all connected? How does Burkina Faso fit into the larger global trends of sustainable development? Burkina Faso's electric vehicle move is no isolated incident. This shift is happening everywhere, and it's a part of a larger global trend. As the world grapples with climate change, countries around the globe are investing in clean energy, sustainable infrastructure, and electric transportation. Whether it's European Union policies or the booming EV markets in China, the global push is clear. The future is green. What makes Burkina Faso's move so interesting is that it's jumping on the bandwagon at just the right moment. The market for electric vehicles is booming, technology is advancing, and the economic feasibility of making the switch has never been better. Burkina Faso isn't waiting around for foreign aid or handouts. It's seeing the global trend and making sure it doesn't miss out. It's positioning itself as a green energy hub in Africa, which, in the coming decades, could put it at the forefront of the continent's future. But what challenges will Burkina Faso face in using electric vehicles? All right, time to face reality. No transition, no matter how noble, comes without its challenges. While the shift to electric vehicles (EVs) in Burkina Faso is exciting, it isn't exactly going to be smooth sailing from day one. There's work to do, and plenty of it. First is the upfront cost. While the long-term savings on fuel are clear, electric vehicles are generally more expensive upfront than their gas-guzzling counterparts. That means the government, businesses, and individuals in Burkina Faso will need to make the initial investment. However, there's hope here too. With international partnerships, especially from China, which is already contributing to the cause, Burkina Faso could secure subsidies or incentives that help make EVs more affordable. As demand grows, economies of scale will kick in and the price of EVs will come down. But here's the thing. Burkina Faso isn't going to let these challenges slow it down. The country is already taking proactive steps to build this green infrastructure, with a focus on renewable energy to power the vehicles. There's a roadmap in place, and as Burkina Faso advances through these hurdles, it will serve as a blueprint for other African nations. It's not going to be easy, but if anyone's up for the task, it's Burkina Faso. Now that we've gotten the challenges out of the way, let's dive into the real fun part: opportunities. And Burkina Faso's electric vehicle revolution is about to unlock some seriously exciting ones. First, think about the job market. We're talking about a whole new industry springing up around electric vehicles, from scratch. With the country investing in renewable energy, the construction of charging stations, and the manufacturing of EVs, there's going to be a surge in demand for skilled workers. Green-collar jobs are going to be the new norm. From electricians to engineers, mechanics to tech experts, there will be a massive push to create a workforce trained specifically for this new green economy. It's not just about creating more jobs, it's about creating high-value jobs that lead to long-term, sustainable employment. And it's not just job creation. This is a massive economic opportunity. As Burkina Faso builds out its electric vehicle infrastructure, it will attract investments not only from within the country, but also from international companies looking to capitalize on the booming green tech market. Imagine a situation where Burkina Faso becomes the go-to destination for companies looking to launch EV production in Africa or develop solar-powered EV charging stations. These investments could transform the country's economy, setting it up for years of growth. Let's not forget about the ripple effect. As Burkina Faso adopts electric vehicles, it will be creating demand for a wide range of complementary sectors: green energy solutions, battery production, recycling, and even educational programs focused on sustainability and green technologies. This transition will create a whole new ecosystem of industries. And guess what? It's homegrown. So, what does this mean for the rest of Africa?
Thank you, David. Allow me at the outset to thank you for inviting me to these talks and to thank the audience for being patient with us and to attending this one-to-one. Well, the message you just mentioned was not by some African leaders, it was by all African leaders. The position of Africa, and let me maybe explain this and dispel some of the misperceptions. You all know that we have been preached to prescribed solutions, given instructions sometimes throughout our history. And the stories that you read in the media or that you read that are, used everywhere, unfortunately, they're not always balanced. There are lots of problems in Africa, including problems of governance. I'm not saying otherwise. But we cannot be all that bad. It cannot be that every and each single story about Africa.
Burkina Faso's lead is showing the way. Other African nations will be looking at Burkina Faso's success with green transportation and renewable energy and asking themselves, why aren't we doing that too? As the global demand for sustainable practices rises, Africa can either be a passive player or an active participant. Burkina Faso has already chosen the latter. Now, let's zoom out and look at what Burkina Faso's electric vehicle revolution means for the entire continent of Africa. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a national win, it's a continental game changer. Burkina Faso is doing something that Africa has needed for years: leading. For decades, the continent has been seen as the place where others, Western powers, foreign aid organizations, and global corporations step in and take the reins. But that narrative is changing. Burkina Faso is proving that African nations can not only catch up with the rest of the world, but take the lead in key areas like green technology, sustainability, and energy independence. Think about it. With solar power being abundant across much of the continent, Africa is uniquely positioned to leapfrog the fossil fuel dependency that's plagued much of the Western world. Countries like Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria could follow Burkina Faso's lead, building green tech industries that not only reduce dependence on foreign oil, but also attract international investments in renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure. But it's not just about economics. It's about reshaping the African narrative. Instead of relying on others to provide solutions, Africa is showing that it can be at the forefront of global green innovations. Burkina Faso is setting the example, and the rest of the continent is watching. The future is bright, and Africa's green revolution is just getting started. How many other countries do you think will join Burkina Faso on this path? Will Africa finally transform without the West? Let us know in the comment section. Do you see the change happening soon? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.